All right, I need to let you in on a reality that might truly surprise you. The number of years you've lived is not the primary cause behind your thinning hair. I understand that conventional wisdom says it's an inevitable facet of aging, but that's an incomplete picture. Scientific studies reveal that a lack of sufficient iron is, in fact, among the top three culprits for hair loss, and this deficiency has zero connection to your chronological age. I recently discussed vegetables that can address this issue, but today I'm sharing something even more actionable. I will reveal three particular nuts you can conveniently munch on daily. These are nuts that have enabled thousands of individuals to regrow hair well into their 50s, 60s, 70s, and even later in life. We're not talking about costly pills or complex procedures. They are straightforward foods you likely encounter every single week in the supermarket aisle. However, before we delve into these three potent nuts, it is critical I alert you to two dietary items that are covertly damaging your hair follicles at this very moment. Even if you begin consuming these beneficial nuts, these two common foods will undermine all your progress. I worked with one woman who ate cashews and pistachios diligently for 4 months and witnessed zero change until we identified what she was still consuming. The instant she eliminated these two harmful foods, her hair began to regenerate within just 6 weeks. So please stay with me until the conclusion because I will disclose precisely what these foods are and the reasons they are so destructive. Let's begin with the first nut capable of revolutionizing your hair. Cashews are naturally devoid of cholesterol, rendering them exceptionally healthy, particularly as we advance in years. They are also soft and simple to chew and digest, a crucial point since many avoid nuts believing they're too tough on teeth or the digestive system. But here is what sets cashews apart for hair regeneration. They provide 6 to 7 milligrams of iron per serving, alongside 18 grams of protein. These are two fundamental components for constructing hair. They also deliver a host of other hair-fortifying vitamins and minerals, like beneficial fats, zinc, magnesium, copper, and biotin. Now, you may question why iron is so vital. When your iron levels are low, your hair endures a ruinous process. It initially begins to thin, then you observe more strands coming out during brushing or washing. The rate of new hair growth plummets, and any hair that does emerge becomes fragile and feeble, snapping off with ease. The complicating factor is that numerous people are unaware they are iron deficient. As we grow older, our bodies absorb iron less effectively. Our stomach acid production diminishes. Some medications hinder absorption, and our appetites frequently wane, meaning we consume fewer iron-rich foods overall. Yet cashews provide more than just iron. They are extraordinarily abundant in vitamin E. This is where it becomes truly compelling. Vitamin E is a potent antioxidant that enhances blood circulation to your scalp. Consider the implications. With every heartbeat, more oxygen and nutrients arrive at your hair follicles. This amplified blood flow assists in repairing damaged follicles that have been languishing or inactive. It decreases oxidative stress, which prompts premature aging of your hair, and it establishes the perfect setting for new hair growth to initiate. Vitamin E also aids in balancing oil production on your scalp. Insufficient oil leads to a dry, flaky scalp. Excessive oil clogs follicles and halts growth. Vitamin E maintains an ideal equilibrium. A compelling study published in Tropical Life Sciences Research in 2010 involved 38 volunteers experiencing hair loss who were given vitamin E supplements for 8 months. The outcomes were striking. Participants taking vitamin E experienced a 34.5% increase in hair count compared to the placebo group. The researchers determined that the antioxidant properties of vitamin E helped lower oxidative stress on the scalp, a major factor in age-related hair loss. Let me offer you 3 straightforward methods to incorporate cashews into your daily life, starting immediately. The first is remarkably simple. Take 1 cup of raw cashews and blend them in a food processor with half a cup of pitted dates, a tablespoon of ground flaxseed for added omega-3s, and a dash of cinnamon. Roll this blend into small balls and refrigerate. Enjoy 2 to 3 balls as a mid-morning or afternoon snack. These energy balls provide lasting vitality, satisfy sweet cravings naturally without processed sugars, and deliver a concentrated burst of iron, protein, and vitamin E simultaneously. The second recipe is a creamy cashew smoothie. Soak a quarter cup of cashews in water overnight. In the morning, drain and blend them with one ripe banana, a cup of unsweetened almond milk, a tablespoon of honey, and a handful of spinach for extra iron. This smoothie is not only tasty, but also remarkably easy on your digestion. The soaking process makes the cashews more digestible and boosts the bioavailability of their nutrients, meaning your body can absorb more of the iron and vitamins instead of simply excreting them. The third recipe is cashew-crusted salmon. Chop half a cup of cashews and mix them with a tablespoon of olive oil, minced garlic, and fresh herbs like parsley or dill. Press this mixture onto salmon fillets and bake at 375 degrees Celsius for 15 to 18 minutes. The combination of iron-rich cashews with omega-3 rich salmon creates a powerful meal for hair regrowth. The healthy fats in both foods assist your body in absorbing fat-soluble vitamins like vitamin E more efficiently. I recall an 82-year-old woman I worked with who came to me deeply distressed about her thinning hair. She shared that her hair had once been her pride, thick and full, but over recent years it had become so sparse she could clearly see her scalp in the mirror. She had attempted expensive shampoos, special conditioners, and even contemplated buying a wig. Reviewing her diet, I noticed she consumed minimal protein and almost no nuts, believing them too hard to chew. I introduced her to cashews, explaining they're among the softest nuts available, and taught her to make the smoothie and energy balls. Within 3 months, she called me excitedly to report that her hairdresser had spotted new baby hairs at her hairline. By 6 months, her hair had visibly thickened, and she no longer felt the need to hide beneath a hat. She now relies on her daily cashew smoothie and shares the practice with everyone she knows. Now let's discuss the second nut that can alter everything for your hair. Pine nuts contain 6.6 milligrams of iron per 100 gram serving. To provide context, adults require roughly 8 milligrams of iron daily. Therefore, a small handful of pine nuts supplies a substantial portion of your daily need. But iron isn't the sole reason pine nuts are so effective. They are also rich in vitamin E and magnesium, two nutrients that work in synergy to create an optimal environment for hair growth. The vitamin E in pine nuts acts as a protective barrier for your hair follicles. It combats free radicals, those harmful molecules that assault hair cells and cause premature scalp aging. Consuming vitamin E regularly strengthens the hair shaft from within, prevents breakage, and imparts a natural shine. It also helps seal moisture into each strand, which is especially vital as we age, since hair tends to grow drier and more brittle over time. This moisture retention keeps hair flexible and less likely to snap during brushing or styling. Magnesium is equally crucial, and here's why. It plays an essential role in protein synthesis. Given that hair is primarily composed of a protein called keratin, you absolutely require sufficient magnesium to build strong, healthy hair. But magnesium performs another, lesser-known function. It helps regulate calcium deposits around hair follicles. Excessive calcium buildup can actually block follicles and inhibit new hair from emerging. Moreover, magnesium enhances blood circulation and reduces scalp inflammation. Both actions establish prime conditions for regrowth. Inadequate magnesium levels are directly associated with hair loss, and many people are deficient without realizing it. A comprehensive 2019 study in the Archives of Dermatological Research examined micronutrient roles in hair loss among 200 participants. Researchers found that individuals with alopecia had markedly lower levels of magnesium and iron compared to those with healthy hair. The study concluded that supplementing with these minerals, whether through diet or supplements, showed observable improvement in hair density and reduced shedding within 12 to 16 weeks. The researchers stressed that dietary sources were preferable as they came with other synergistic nutrients that enhanced absorption. Here are 3 delightful ways to include pine nuts in your daily meals. First, a classic pine nut pesto. Blend 2 cups of fresh basil with half a cup of pine nuts, 3 garlic cloves, half a cup of grated Parmesan, and half a cup of extra virgin olive oil. Season with salt and pepper. Toss this pesto with whole wheat pasta, spread it on whole grain toast, or use it as a marinade. The healthy fats in the olive oil improve your body's absorption of the vitamin E from the pine nuts. Second, a Mediterranean pine nut salad. Toast a quarter cup of pine nuts in a dry skillet until golden and aromatic. Toss them with mixed greens, cherry tomatoes, cucumber slices, red onion, crumbled feta, and a simple dressing of lemon juice, olive oil, and dried oregano. This salad is light, refreshing, and loaded with nutrients that support both hair growth and overall wellness. The vitamin C from the tomatoes and lemon also enhances your body's absorption of the iron from the pine nuts. Third, honey roasted pine nuts. Mix half a cup of pine nuts with 1 teaspoon of honey and a pinch of sea salt. Spread on a baking sheet and roast at 325 degrees for 8 to 10 minutes, stirring midway. These make a superb snack and can be sprinkled over yogurt or oatmeal. I remember a 76-year-old retired teacher concerned about his receding hairline. He had always possessed thick hair, but in recent years it had noticeably thinned, especially at the temples. His diet was fairly good, but he seldom ate nuts, finding them bland. I introduced him to pine nuts and taught him the honey roasted recipe. He adored the sweet, savory flavor and began eating them as an afternoon snack. I also suggested adding the pesto to his weekly meals. After 4 months, he noticed his hair felt thicker to the touch, and his barber commented on increased volume. By 8 months, the thinning at his temples had visibly improved, and his confidence soared. He now always keeps a jar of honey-roasted pine nuts in his kitchen and credits them with restoring his hair. Now, we arrive at the third nut that can profoundly improve your hair growth. Pistachios contain about 4 milligrams of iron per 100 grams, a considerable contribution to your daily iron requirements. But what makes pistachios truly outstanding for hair growth is their high content of vitamin B6 and copper. These are 2 nutrients absolutely critical for preventing hair loss and encouraging new growth. Vitamin B6, or pyridoxine, is essential for producing melanin, the pigment that gives your hair its natural color. Beyond color, B6 plays a key role in improving oxygen flow to your scalp by aiding in the production of hemoglobin, the protein in red blood cells that carries oxygen throughout your body. When your hair follicles receive ample oxygen, they remain active and robust, generating strong, thick strands. Vitamin B6 also helps your body metabolize protein more efficiently. Since hair is made of keratin, a protein, this means your body can better utilize dietary protein to build new hair. Additionally, B6 lowers stress hormones like cortisol, important because chronic stress is a leading cause of hair loss. Copper is equally important, and here's something most people overlook. It activates enzymes that fortify the connective tissue in your hair and scalp. Copper helps form disulfide bonds, the molecular links that provide hair with its strength and elasticity. Without adequate copper, hair turns weak, breaks easily, and grows slower. Copper also collaborates with iron to form red blood cells, meaning it boosts iron's efficacy in delivering oxygen and nutrients to your follicles. Furthermore, copper possesses natural anti-inflammatory properties that calm scalp conditions like dandruff and irritation, which can block follicles and impede growth. A 2013 study in biological trace element research analyzed trace mineral levels in 50 patients with premature graying and hair loss versus a control group. Researchers found those with hair issues had significantly lower levels of copper and iron in their blood and hair samples. The study concluded that copper deficiency contributed not only to hair loss but also to premature graying, and that restoring copper levels through diet led to noticeable improvements in hair thickness and color retention within 3 to 6 months. Here are 3 simple, delicious ways to add pistachios to your routine. First, a pistachio and cranberry trail mix. Combine 1 cup of shelled pistachios with half a cup of dried cranberries, a quarter cup of dark chocolate chips, and a quarter cup of pumpkin seeds. Mix and store in an airtight container. Have a small handful as a snack. This mix delivers sustained energy, satisfies sweet cravings naturally, and provides a powerful combination of iron, copper, B vitamins, and antioxidants. Second, a creamy pistachio smoothie bowl. Blend half a cup of shelled pistachios with 1 frozen banana, half a cup of Greek yogurt, a quarter cup of unsweetened almond milk, and a teaspoon of honey. Pour into a bowl and top with fresh berries, sliced almonds, and a sprinkle of ground flaxseed. This bowl is not only visually appealing, but immensely nourishing for your hair. The Greek yogurt adds extra protein, while the berries supply vitamin C to enhance iron absorption. Third, pistachio-crusted chicken. Chop 3/4 of a cup of shelled pistachios and mix with 2 tablespoons of Dijon mustard, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, minced garlic, and fresh thyme. Coat chicken breasts with this mixture and bake at 375 for 25-30 minutes until golden and cooked through. The combination of protein-rich chicken with nutrient-dense pistachios creates a complete meal that supports hair growth from multiple angles. A 68-year-old retired nurse came to me heartbroken over her thinning hair. She had always taken pride in her appearance, but over 2 years, her hair had become so thin, she avoided social events and felt embarrassed in public. She had tried multiple growth shampoos and considered extensions with no success. Reviewing her diet, I saw she ate very few nuts and seeds. I introduced her to pistachios and taught her the trail mix and smoothie bowl. She loved their convenience. Within 2 months, she reported her hair felt less brittle and shed less when brushed. By 5 months, she saw visible regrowth at her hairline and crown. Her hairdresser was amazed. She now eats pistachios daily, has regained her confidence, and feels like herself again, no longer avoiding cameras or gatherings. Now, before you hurry to purchase cashews, pine nuts, and pistachios, I must caution you about something vitally important. These nuts will have limited impact on your hair growth if you continue consuming the next 2 foods I will mention. I've witnessed this repeatedly. One patient ate cashews and pistachios religiously every day for 4 months, but saw no improvement in her hair loss. She was frustrated and ready to quit until we found she was still regularly consuming these 2 harmful items. The moment she stopped and continued with her iron-rich nuts, her hair began regrowing within 6 weeks. Another patient had the identical experience. He was nutritionally meticulous, yet his hair kept falling out until we pinpointed and removed these 2 culprits from his diet. So listen closely, because this knowledge could determine the success or failure of your hair regrowth journey. The first hair-destroying food is sugar. Excessive sugar intake is among the most damaging things for your hair, and most people underestimate their daily consumption. It's hidden in countless seemingly innocent foods. When you overconsume sugar, it spikes insulin levels, triggering your body to produce more androgens, particularly dihydrotestosterone, DHT. DHT is a hormone that miniaturizes hair follicles, making them weaker and incapable of producing strong, healthy hair. Over time, these shrunken follicles cease production entirely, leading to permanent baldness in those areas. Sugar also causes systemic inflammation, including in your scalp. This chronic inflammation damages follicles, disrupts the hair growth cycle, and pushes hair prematurely into the shedding phase. Additionally, sugar hinders your body's absorption of essential nutrients like iron, zinc, and B vitamins, the very nutrients you need for hair growth. Even if you're eating all the right foods like cashews, pine nuts, and pistachios, concurrent sugar intake blocks your body from using those nutrients effectively. It's akin to filling a bucket with a hole in the bottom. A 2022 study in PLOS One examined dietary patterns of over 1,000 men aged 18 to 45 and found a strong correlation between high sugar intake and male pattern baldness. Men who regularly consumed sugary drinks, desserts, and processed foods were significantly more likely to experience severe hair loss compared to those who limited sugar. Researchers concluded that reducing sugar could slow or even reverse hair loss in many cases. Replace sugar with natural sweeteners like raw honey, pure maple syrup, or dates in moderation. These contain minerals and antioxidants that support hair health. Swap sugary snacks for fresh fruits like berries, apples, and oranges, which offer natural sweetness plus vitamins and fiber. Exchange sodas and sweetened drinks for water, herbal teas, or infused water with lemon and cucumber. Trade store-bought desserts for homemade treats sweetened with mashed banana or unsweetened applesauce. The goal is to retrain your palate to appreciate natural sweetness over the artificial intensity of processed sugar. The second food sabotaging your hair growth is ultra-processed foods. These are manufactured products containing ingredients never found in a home kitchen: hydrogenated oils, high-fructose corn syrup, artificial flavors, preservatives, emulsifiers, and chemical additives. This category includes packaged snacks, frozen meals, instant noodles, processed meats, hot dogs, deli meats, long shelf life breads, sugary cereals, and fast food. Designed for convenience and shelf stability, not health, they are devastating for your hair. Ultra-processed foods are laden with trans fats and hydrogenated oils that clog arteries and reduce scalp blood flow. When circulation to follicles is restricted, they receive less oxygen and fewer nutrients, causing hair to grow slowly, become brittle, and eventually fall out. These foods also contain excessive sodium, dehydrating your body and scalp, making hair dry, weak, and prone to breakage. Their chemical additives and preservatives trigger systemic inflammation, including scalp inflammation that damages follicles and disrupts the natural growth cycle. Moreover, ultra-processed foods are nutritionally void. They provide calories but negligible vitamins, minerals, or protein necessary to build strong hair. Filling up on these foods displaces nutrient-dense whole foods from your diet, creating deficiencies in iron, zinc, biotin, and other essentials. Your body simply cannot construct healthy hair from processed junk. A landmark 2024 study in the British Medical Journal followed over 200,000 participants for 28 years, finding that high consumption of ultra-processed foods correlated with increased markers of inflammation and oxidative stress, both directly linked to hair loss and premature aging. The study also found that those who consumed the most ultra-processed foods had significantly lower blood levels of essential nutrients, including iron, magnesium, and B vitamins. Replace packaged snacks with whole foods like nuts, fresh fruit, vegetable sticks with hummus, or homemade energy balls. Swap frozen meals for batch-cooked homemade meals using fresh ingredients like lean proteins, whole grains, and vegetables. Exchange processed meats for fresh cuts of chicken, fish, turkey, or plant-based proteins like beans and lentils. Trade sugary cereals for steel-cut oats, whole grain toast with nut butter, or Greek yogurt with berries. Replace instant noodles with whole grain pasta or zucchini noodles topped with homemade sauce. Aim to eat foods from nature with minimal processing and maximal nutrition. I must be utterly honest with you. If you keep eating sugar and ultra-processed foods while adding these beneficial nuts to your diet, you will be disappointed with the results. It's like trying to fill a bathtub with the drain open. You might observe minor improvements, but you'll never achieve the dramatic regrowth you desire. However, if you eliminate or drastically reduce these two harmful food groups while consistently eating cashews, pine nuts, and pistachios, you will witness remarkable changes. Your hair will begin to feel thicker and stronger. You'll notice fewer strands falling out during brushing or showering. New baby hairs will emerge around your hairline and crown. Your existing hair will become shinier and more resilient. And over several months, you'll see visible regrowth in areas that had been thinning or balding. The choice is yours. You can continue eating as usual and hope for different outcomes, or you can implement these simple yet powerful changes today. Add cashews, pine nuts, and pistachios to your daily routine using the shared recipes. Cut out or dramatically reduce sugar by switching to natural sweeteners and whole fruits. Eliminate ultra-processed foods and replace them with whole, natural foods that genuinely nourish your body. If you do these 3 things consistently for the next 3 to 6 months, I promise you will see a difference in your hair. It won't occur overnight, but it will occur. Your hair follicles require time to heal, strengthen, and start producing healthy hair again. But with the correct nutrients and by removing the foods that sabotage your efforts, you are giving your body every tool it needs to succeed. Your hair deserves this commitment. Your confidence deserves this commitment.